Hey guys, this is Craig, and I'm going to be doing blog number 13 on metal detecting. And years ago, I ran track, and one of my buddies, Mike, uh, found out I was metal detecting, and he wanted to know if there might be something in his yard. So I said, there could be because less than a block away is Fort Ward, which was a Civil War fort in Alexandria. And so I said, you know, soldiers were all around that area, and there could be some stuff there. So we went over to his yard, and there wasn't much in his yard, but I did find a bullet. And I said, "How about there's like a fence, and then there's like a strip of uh, grass, and there's a middle school that we went to, and it was one of the worst school. It was the worst school I ever went to, called Minnie Howard. And I was in eighth grade. They integrated the schools, and nothing got done. It was like a war zone. So anyway, we I started metal detecting along the fence, and I started finding eagle buttons and bullets. And he was going, "Oh my God, they're everywhere!" And so we we kind of dug along, and then I said, "Well, let's go down a little further." And then we weren't finding much, and then there was like a sewer, and so right next to the curb. So I started hunting there, and I got kind of a high tone, and I dug down about 3 inches, and I pulled out a U.S. box plate. And during the Civil War, the Yankees had three accoutrement plates that they wore. One of them was a U.S. belt buckle. Uh, some of the soldiers, if they were in a state, might have a state belt buckle, like an SNY, or there was different state of New York that was native to New York. There were several other different ones, and so then they had a box plate which went on the cartridge box. In the cartridge box, it had a strap that went over your shoulder to hold it up next to your hip, and it was full of bullets. And on the strap itself, right in the middle of your breast or chest, was an eagle breastplate with an eagle on it. And so those were the three plates that you found. And so uh, I guess about 4 or 5 years later, I noticed that there was some construction stuff at the school. Like they'd put up trailers, and so I saw this big guy. It was a black security guard, and he must have been about 6'7". So I walked up and introduced myself and asked him, if it's okay if I metal detected in the field there. And there was two baseball fields, and there was tennis courts and a backboard, and I used to hit, practice there when I played tennis. And so he said, "Yeah, they're gonna be tearing this whole place up and renovating it and stuff." And so go ahead, And I told him I don't make any hole, I don't leave open holes or anything, and you can hardly tell where I've been. And he said, "Yeah, that's fine." So I went out into the field, and I went up to the baseball diamond, and I started hunting up along first baseline, and right away I dug a bullet, and I said, "Oh man, that's good." So I got up by first base, and I started down towards second base, and I took about 2 steps, and I got a high reading. It was reading half dollar on my meter, and I dug up down about 8 inches, and popped out 1907 barber half dollar, and I never dug a barber half before. Haven't dug one since. And I was going, oh my God, this is crazy. So I called a friend of mine, and we started going up there every day, and we ended up finding. I think I found two more breastplates up there, and found two reals, all kinds of. I got a couple large cents. Um, bullets were all over the place. A lot of wheat pennies, mercury dimes, and stuff like that, because it was school that went back into the 50s, and so that was a kind of a shock that that there was all that stuff in that field. I mean, we spent a month metal detecting that field, and got quite a bit of stuff out of that area. But just about anywhere in Alexandria, especially along Braddock Road, I'll talk about it later. We found several camps up further toward between Beauregard Street and Van Dorn, and all that got bulldozed. And every time we went up to a bulldozed site, that they just kept bulldozing on and on up the street. They'd finish one and then start putting houses in, and then they'd start bulldozing another one, and then we just move up to the next one. And it was kind of up on a hill, so nobody could see you. And so we had, there was like three of us that were basically going through there getting stuff. And one day I noticed there was a lot of cars, and so I went up there, and there must have been, they'd bulldozed down the hill to the creek, and it was a real steep hill. And there was about 50 to 100 accoutrement plates that were found in the water in the creek. And I'd found an S&Y belt buckle, up on that hill. And so I was like, wow. And I saw this one guy who was a Marine, and he was coming up the hill, and he was like muddy all the way to his waist. And he showed me a breastplate he just dug, and he said, "This is the first plate I've ever dug," and I was congratulating him, and I said, "That is awesome." But there must have, there was a whole bunch of people down in there, and looks like the a lot of the soldiers threw their plates down into the creek. It's kind of crazy. A lot of breastplates down there, and U.S. Box plates. Box plates got tossed a lot because they were heavy, and when you were marching, you already had like about 50 bullets in your cartridge box, and each one of them weighed about an ounce. So the plate had lead on the back of it. So a lot of the soldiers, while they were marching, they would throw bullets out of their cartridge boxes, and they'd also get rid of the cartridge box. And the soldiers didn't like the eagle breastplate because it made a target right on your chest. So they would throw those away, but they always needed a belt buckle to keep their pants up. So this is going to be the end of this. So what I'm going to do is show you, I'll show you some pictures of some of the plates I've found. All right, guys. These are some of the first plates that I dug. I think I have about 34 plates, something like that, but that's my first one up there, the S&Y. That's a box plate. That's a shield breastplate I found it in Orange, Virginia. That was it was near a ford, and I got one of those scabbards to the right of it. I got one of those right next to it. There's a couple, another breastplate, baby US breastplate, box plate, another S&Y. I'll talk about that later on. Another breastplate. This is a US Boss. That little gold thing is part of a keeper that something was attached to it. This thing is a snake, and it's in two pieces, and that went on somewhere on on one of the soldiers' jackets or whatever. But this is what the back of it looks like. It had two wire hooks, or wire things on the back, and then with the eagle on it. I've gotten about 15 eagle plates, I guess, over the years. But here's one I found that was damaged. You see the lead in the back there. You can see where the hooks were there. And that right there was a hat pin that went on the kepi hat. It's an eagle. That's a fountain pen I found in the camp. I found it in the New York camp, actually. I found that little heart also in a camp. All right, guys. What do you think? Give me some comments. Let me know what you want to hear next.